Frost, boy, that was a great goal to see Morgan Frost pot one.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's he's a guy that is going to be a centerpiece of this Flyers offense moving forward. I think a top six role. He'll move up and down, I think, but he's a guy. He's one of those guys the Flyers need to get going in order to see next year come to fruition. They've got some guys that need to take a step, and he's one of them. And it's nice to see him pot one there, and maybe grow off of that.
It's interesting because it's a night where they took advantage of a goalie. It's hard to say that you took advantage of Carey Price very often. Beating Carey Price beats a lot of shooters before they shoot, which is why they feel the need to be so precise against him a lot of times. He was clearly off tonight. You saw that the second Van Riemsdyk goal, JVR goal, was, dare I say, hideous from him. I mean, it's a clean shot. He just beats him blocker side. And you can tell Price's game's not dialed in. It's only his third game of the year. But beating Price and taking advantage of him tonight, dare I say, maybe even goes further than if you beat Jake Allen or you beat Mackenzie Blackwood or, any other goalie. Right. Because of Price's got the Tiger effect on players. Beats you before you shoot.
I mean, this guy's been playing for how many years now? And, a lot of these young players, grew up watching him maybe. 697 career games for Carey Price coming into tonight. Starts coming into tonight. That makes it 698. This is only the 18th time in 700 games, essentially, that he's given up 6 or more goals. Flyers did it to him once, one other time back in April 2013, the lockout season. Which obviously was not a playoff year for the Flyers, but they hung 6 on him in the first 2 periods of that game. So that was another off night for him. But that's the only other time the Flyers have done that to Carey Price in 31 times facing him. So that just tells you how rare it is for something like this to come along.
They always had a kind of a good record against Price, though.
They have, yes.
It's really weird.
Much better record against him than say Marc-Andre Fleury or Henrik Lundqvist or something like that. But again, 30 games coming into tonight, and the Flyers had won 13 of them. They won 2 of them in overtime, 13 in regulation. So that's a pretty good number against a goalie like him. He had a career .922 save percentage against the Flyers coming into this game. So he's pretty stingy, but they've scored 2.5 goals against him per game in the span of his career. So they've been able to figure him out a little bit.
Yeah, and you go in tonight, you get it done in the second period, and then you come out in the third. You don't let up, and you build on it.
Right.
It's good to see. They get that late goal from Caulfield. That's an ultimate garbage time goal. He throws a dead angle shot and just catches Jones in a weird spot, kind of goes between his legs. But all in all, just a really solid performance tonight. And when I read the score sheet, Bri, and I read the names of the guys involved in these goals. So the first goal of the game, JVR, his 22nd, assist Bobby Brink. Second goal, Provorov, assist JVR and Bobby Brink. The third Flyer goal, Oscar Lindblom from Zach McEwen and Linus Hogberg. The fourth Flyer goal, Travis Konechny from Provorov and Adard. Morgan Frost in the third period from Tippett and Cates. And I don't know why they're not listing the goal now either, the JVR.
It's back. I have it back. It might.
Yeah, I have it on here now, but now I don't have it on ESPN. What's going on with this thing?
Yeah, well, the data feed is all the same. All these sites get their data from the same place. So somebody's screwing with something that's messing with that.
So they're messing with us. So JVR scored. But, you see all that Morgan Frost goal assisted by Tippett and Cates. That's 3 players the Flyers will be relying on to have a really big summer involved on that one goal.
Yep, absolutely. And this is it's a group that may not necessarily play together. I don't know. Cates could surprise us. I don't think he'll meld into a top 6 forward on a regular basis for this team, but you could see a trio like that contributing a lot over the next several years. Bobby Brink obviously is coming into his own real quick, and the thing about Bobby Brink too is you gotta remember, and hopefully I probably shouldn't even bring this up because I've stopped hearing about it, which makes me think people might have forgotten about it. But Bobby Brink was the guy the Flyers picked up basically instead of Cole Caulfield. They took Cam York, the pick before Caulfield, and then they honed in on Brink, and Brink was going to be, he was the reason they didn't take Caulfield, because the Flyers felt Cam York and Bobby Brink together were greater than Cole Caulfield. And granted, Caulfield has proven to be a goal scorer in the NHL. At the time, it was, wondering about his size and stuff like that. He's really small when his draft year came around. And a goal scorer is what the Flyers need, but they can go out and get one goal scorer, and then still have a very solid defenseman and a good playmaker to go along with it. That's easier to get than get those other two things together. So this was our first kind of look tonight at both of these teams. Granted, Cam York didn't play, but both of these teams now have the controversial subjects from that draft, and we'll have to see how it plays out over the years.
Yeah, and first of all, defenseman much more higher value than a streaky scoring winger. And to get York there, they actually passed on Caulfield not once but twice, because they moved back, and they originally passed on him. I think it's 7. Then they move back, they pass on him again, they take York, and then they grab Brink there in the second round. And speaking of Brink, I mean, I'm just watching him play, Bri. I'm so impressed with his just ability to make plays, and he made smart plays tonight, contributed offensively. He doesn't seem like any sort of liability defensively, and he's just got a whole lot of just compete to his game. Just competes really hard at everything he does. We know how small he is. We know he's not the greatest skater, but he's got a ton of compete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he absolutely does. And and I think again, skating is something that you can improve, right? It's obviously, and you get to this point in your career, you're about as close to being as good a skater as you're going to get, but you can improve it. After
Mark Stone, when he came in the league,
yeah,
he couldn't skate a lick.
Stone was a metaphor, right? No,
yeah.
You can improve that, but to come in, and be a really, really good skater and not use it, because you don't have the compete. I mean, that doesn't help. And, the compete is what gets you to be a better skater. So, I'm not too worried about that at this point. It's like,
well, look at Nolan Patrick was a good skater, but he had no compete.
Right. Yeah.
So, that's like a case in point. Like Zherdev was the same thing. Like good skater, no compete. Doesn't matter. If you're not going to use the asset, what's the point of having it? Give it to somebody that would use it.
Yep. That's exactly what came to mind. I didn't say it, but Zherdev was one of the guys that popped in my head. But we've seen him over the years. Alexei Yashin. I mean, come on. Guys like that. So that you'd much rather have one way than the other way around.
Yeah, you can make up for some deficiencies in skating with compete, but you can't make up for compete with skating, because you just won't go to the right places. And that's what we saw with those players we just listed. So Flyers get the 5-3 win over the Montreal, or 6-3 win, over the Montreal Canadiens. Everything's all messed up. So whoever's messing with the data from the NHL league office, please stop, because you're messing me up. And now it's becoming offensive to me. Big game for James Van Riemsdyk, 2 goals and an assist.
Yeah.
And at this point, Bri, the way he's playing, again, it's kind of mop-up time for JVR. But he's a guy that always, at the end of the year, somehow ends up with a nice chunk of goals, and he's going to end up with a nice chunk of goals here this season as well. And right now, is he tied for the team lead at 23?
Yeah, that would tie him with Cam, I think, right?
Yeah.
And now that he's hadn't been playing these last few games, it's going to be a good number at the end of the year. It's a lot of it coming later than the Flyers really could have used it, but again, it's a type of year where things didn't really go right for this team, and you can only do so many things yourself, and when you're in James Van Riemsdyk's shoes, and you're out there trying to make some things happen. You're the net front guy on the power play or whatever, and if the things aren't going right to get the puck to you, or again, this team spends a lot of time defending, a lot more than they would really like to. When those things, when you don't have that support, it can be tough to produce. He's not a sniper. He's not a guy that's gonna, come down, 2/3 the length of the ice and, just dust everybody and score a goal like a Connor McDavid or something like that. He's a guy that capitalizes on opportunities in the offensive zone, and when
And
things
bite.
are going well, you don't get a lot of those opportunities. So you would
Yeah.
definitely like to see that number be a little bit higher. But if things go well for the Flyers next year in terms of the health of the team and some of the pieces they bring in, and he is still here, part of the group, then you might get some more of those opportunities. I mean, remember that first 5 games, how well we thought he was working in that spot with everybody that was here at the time.
Well, last year he had the best start of his career. Remember in the first like 15 games, I mean, he had like 12 goals.
Yep, and that's again, that was people keep forgetting that the 2021 season actually started really well for the Flyers before they
Yeah.
got hit by COVID. They weren't doing too bad. It was the COVID that kind of derailed that season. So yeah, I mean that's the kind of James Van Riemsdyk they want to see out there, obviously.
Yeah, and we'll see if he is a part of the group next year or if he's, kind of finding himself in a position where he may be a guy that is an asset to another team. So we shall see. 23 goals now in the year, 2 tonight. And he did look like Connor McDavid in that third period goal, kind of streaking down the wing and beats Price clean. Something you don't see very often, frankly, out of either player. Let's take a quick timeout here on the post-game show. Flyers get the win, 6-3 over the Canadiens. We're back after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Yeah, I love Frost going to the net there, Bry, just going hard to the spot and gets a stick on it and ends up putting it by Carey Price and extends the Flyers' lead in the third period after going into a third with a 2-goal lead, not letting them up off the mat and building on the lead.
Yeah, this is 4.5 minutes left to go in the game, and it's still a 4-2 game. And you know what they say about those 2-goal leads in hockey. I mean, all it would take at that point is, one puck to bounce the wrong way and send Montreal in on an odd man rush or something like that. And just like that, this game is 100% different. So this is a huge goal. And again, it's not just Morgan Frost going to the net on this play, but it starts off a neutral zone draw that he wins, and then the Flyers on the breakout, they start to lose the puck just inside the line, but Frost then digs it out of the skate of a Montreal player and keeps the rush going, and then hands it off to Noah Cates, keeps going again right to the net, and tips it home. So it's a really good 150-foot effort there from Frost that started with winning the draw and finishes off with the tip in. So just a great shift there for him.
Yeah, and I love the fact that the combination of players on the goal too is one of those things that you really like to see. Travis Konechny tonight too. Again, in that third period, he just seemed like he had a whole lot of legs tonight and never let up, and he was all over the play in this game tonight. He ends up with the 1 goal, but to me, he affected a lot of this game tonight. Like you look at Konechny in the game, and he ends up playing 18 minutes flush of ice time, and gets 6 shots on goal, gets the goal. He just seemed like a block shot. He just seemed like he was all over the place tonight, and that's exactly what you need from TK.
Yeah, and again, Coates kind of made a good point. With the way the Flyers had gone out tonight. There was a lot in Hayes Konechny line with Konechny on the right wing, but I don't know if they actually made this change or if it's just the way it kind of shook out. But he spent a lot of time on the left side and really seemed to kind of flourish there.
Yeah,
he was he was comfortable over there, and it was generating looks that seemed to be giving Montreal problems. So I wonder if the Flyers are going to go back and look at this and see how that shook out, and maybe try it on purpose sometime down the road. See how he looks over there. But that obviously would give them a ton of flexibility if they're able to toss him on the left every now and then. But yeah, he certainly seemed to have something in his step tonight. He's been a very solid player for the last month, but the Travis Konechny that was out there tonight is the one that would really help the Flyers if he was there more often than not next year.
Well, 2 guys I want to accentuate here too, but 2 blue liners. First and foremost, Ronnie Attard. We got on him a little bit when he had his -4, that -4 game. How about a +4 tonight? Assist on the Konechny goal and a +4 for Ronnie Attard. And had a block shot in the game, 3 hits, looked really comfortable out there, 25 shifts, just under 17 minutes of total ice time, and ends up +4 in the hockey game.
Yeah, and
That's a high for the team, by the way.
I've loved a lot of things I've seen from Ronnie since he got here. He was he had that one bad game, the -4. He came into this game tonight as a -6 in his first 10 games, but that -6 was largely because of just 2 of the games. He was even or better in 7 of the 10 games he'd played coming into tonight. And so now 8 of 11, he's been even or better. And he was a +2 last time out in Toronto, even though the Flyers that game didn't go well for him. So he that's you do the math. He's +6 in 2 games, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've really liked the way that he has entered the league, just in a lot of things that he has done well. We were talking about his goal. Was it the last game or the game before that? Where he jumped in down the right side and scored that goal.
That was the Toronto game against Jack Campbell.
Yeah. So looking at that play again, some of the replays we got, I mean, he he gets that puck along the wall, and he comes down that right side. There's this one replay. You can see his head is up and on the goal the entire way. Like he didn't look past. He knew he was going to shoot. He picked his spot and he put it there.
Yeah.
But that, that obviously is a bonus to his game. I've just really liked the way he's played defensively. He's had an active stick. He's had his stick in the right places. He's taken away passing lanes. He's just done a lot of good, solid defensive things out there. And, I'm really pleased with the way he's established himself at the NHL level so far.
All right. Do we have a sponsor for the stat of the night? Because here it is.
Okay.
We'll pretend we do. Travis Sanheim played 3 seconds shy of 30 minutes in this hockey game.
Oh, my goodness.
29:57.
That's a career high.
4 minutes more than Ivan Provorov, who played 25:57.
Wow.
On 33 shifts, too. Same amount of shifts as Provorov.
I'd love to know how that works. I got to ask somebody how that works sometimes.
And that's an astounding number that he played 29 minutes and 57 seconds of ice time in this game.
Yeah, that is that's going to be a career high, give or take a couple of seconds for him. He has had, again, I believe his top four of his top like 8 or something like that career ice times have been in the last 3 weeks. They have really been using him a ton, and it's been interesting to see how he has been kind of deployed in this situation where the Flyers have not had Ristolainen or Cam York or any of those guys. They obviously, like tonight, they had basically 3 NHL defenders and 3 AHL/prospect defenders. He is really, like we were saying in one of the intermissions, he's really been one of those guys that, even though he is really, quote unquote, a veteran now, he's been one of those guys that really took advantage of it. It is a career high. He had one other 29-minute game. I knew it was 29 and change, but his previous career high was 29-12, and that was an overtime game. So, that's
count.
Yeah. So his career high in a regulation game before this was 27-26. So, that's
that away.
Close to, it's 2.5 minutes more right there. So,
yeah,
interesting. He's been getting a lot of chatter. Barry Ashby Award for best defenseman, and he is making a case here in the last few weeks. Again, one of those guys the Flyers have needed to take a step, and he's showing signs of doing it this year.
Well, the thing about it is, we know that he had good chemistry with Rasmus Ristolainen, but even with Risto out, he's still playing well.
Yes,
for the most part. So that's a good. That's non-partner dependent.
Right. That's the pairing that was pretty much solid all year.
Yeah,
Ristolainen and Sanheim, with everybody else looping around and stuff, and then they started trying them with Provorov and stuff like that. But that's the kind of thing that they look at, and they kind of want Provorov to be like that. Now, it's not to take away from Provy's game. I mean, a 2-point game plus 3. He had a great game as well. 5 shots on goal, 8 total attempts,
5 blocks too.
I mean, that's a monster game in and of itself. But if you have Provorov doing something like that, and then Sanheim going out and eating up those minutes on the next pairing down, I mean, that's a good punch for the Flyers as an overall defensive unit. And then, like I said, if that's going to be something that can become regular, you just firm up that third defensive pairing, and you've got something there. So that's one of the places they might be close if they can add the right pieces here in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, where did those minutes come from? Keith Yandle only played 7 minutes and 1 second of ice time in this game. The second lowest minute total was Adder at 16:52, almost 10 minutes more.
So they rolled 5, basically.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they double shifted Sanheim quite a bit to limit the exposure of Keith Yandle. Jans just doesn't look like he's moving that well now either. And it's likely coming down to the final games, maybe of his career for Keith Yandle.
And I would not be surprised if we get to next Saturday and we find out there's something bothering him. He had that caught that edge in Toronto. I joked to somebody that's a good thing he wasn't a horse because they would have put him down.
Yeah.
But it was. I wouldn't be surprised if he did something there. But I would imagine that it's probably something bugging him right now. But again, Flyers are up against it with recalls and stuff, and how many AHL guys do you want to put in your lineup on a given night? So he might just be out there because there's nobody else that can play right now. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think what we're seeing here is probably going to be close to the end of it for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Real quick, the explanation that we've received now on why that goal counted.
A real explanation other than the one I got.
Well, I heard him talking about it on TV too. The Flyers bench was told they weren't allowed to challenge that.
Yep.
But that's not true. They were mistakenly told that. Get that stuff straightened out. Come on. Well, it's a good thing this game meant nothing.
And the communication that I got was a miscommunication between the bench, and I think that was let's try to cover the guy's butt a little bit. I don't think there was miscommunication at all.
No, he was mistold.
Yeah, it was it was again one of those things where it happens. It's a mistake. Fortunately, it didn't affect anything.
Yeah. It's a meaningless mistake in this.
The only thing that would bug me is if it were an ego thing. I mean, I don't know these. I don't know either of these referees, but you do see that occasionally where one of these referees is just dead sure. Nope, you can't do that. And
you're like, nope, I can.
I saw a tweet from Bill Meltzer, and I don't know where he picked this up, but it did reference that. Not only were the Flyers told they couldn't challenge it, but the Situation Room didn't chime in it either. And that's kind of what they're supposed to back each other up. Like if the referee makes that mistake, the Situation Room's got, he's got a little pager on him that they're supposed to be able to buzz down. Come over here. We got to look at this. I don't know where the breakdown was there.
This game was on the pay no mind list.
Yeah. And for the good of the game, you want them to figure out what happened tonight and fix it. And again, it's a good thing. We're just glad it didn't affect anything in the long run, because God forbid something like this happens in a game that decides something major, like a playoff spot or whatever. So you want them to figure out what happened and fix it. But like I said, it's human nature. It happens, and fortunately, just tonight it didn't affect anything.
Yeah, it's not quite Leon Stickle.
No.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's thank a few people before we get out of here. Let's start with our in-studio engineer, Tyler Zulli. On highlights tonight, Tom Alvord. For Tim Saunders, Steve Coates, Brian Smith, I'm Jason Martinez. You've been listening to Philadelphia Flyers Hockey. We'll call it a 6-2 win because that goal shouldn't have counted. And there was a miscommunication. The Flyers win 6-3 over the Montreal Canadiens. We're back on Sunday, 4 o'clock, as the Flyers will take on the Penguins back at Wells Fargo. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.